has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. All right, hour 3 of C2C on a Thirsty Thursday. We go out to Vegas to our friend from the Review Journal, the great columnist Adam Hill in Sin City. Adam, good to see you. A lot to talk about here. I want to start with today, and I know it doesn't have anything to do with the Raiders, but it does have to do with your head coach. I mean, everyone knew that this guy cheated at Arizona State. I mean, frankly, Edwards and Pierce were thrown out of there, and Anderson too, for the mess that they created in Tempe, right? And then today of all days, I don't understand why it's coming out now. I really don't. Maybe you can tell me that he gets this 8-year show cause. He'll never have anything to do with college football again. He'd be banned for a year. And I know his tough guy image is coming across nationally now with the media in Las Vegas. Like every time he has an interview with you guys, it's like this tough guy act. And he's bored with the media and he's just going to beat everyone's ass. And he's such a, it's like he's come across as like when he played for the Giants, like he was a linebacker getting ready for a game instead of kind of being a head coach. How is that going over with all of his crimes and misdemeanors in college football that were revealed today, and it's strip clubs and everything else? And then every time you interview him, it's an argument and he's mad and he's angry and he hates the media.
Yeah, first of all, I'm still caught up on you saying it's Thirsty Thursday. I could use a beer right now. It's been a wild couple of days.
Can we get a beer, Mafia? Can we get this guy a Pepsi, honestly?
It doesn't end. The news doesn't end. And I mean, you mentioned everything going on with Antonio Pierce, with the Raiders. We're also dealing with the UNLV situation right now and still the craziness of the last week there. Like, the news doesn't stop here. But to your point, what does the Arizona State situation mean? Nothing in the grand scheme of things, really. I mean, if this was an isolated incident and it's all that had happened, who cares? It's a college thing. He's not going back to college. Move on. But I think it's just the fact that it's on top of everything else and everything going on with the Davante Adams situation, with what he created in the locker room last week with the business decisions comment that was made. It goes back to the preseason with the little power struggle between Antonio Pierce and Davante Adams about, who's going to play in the preseason or not. And then Davante mysteriously coming up with an injury. Like, all of these things. And then go back even further, right when he, is starting training camp, the bankruptcy stuff comes out. Again, all of this stuff individually is nothing. It'd be, okay, you move on from this, but it's story after story after story after story where things start to become an issue. And, in terms of his press conferences, I enjoy them because it gives us something to write about for sure. He's not boring. He's not dull. And I like that. I'd rather have that than some coach that says absolutely nothing. That's for sure.
Well, he does that as well. He gives you nothing, but he does it with screw you. It's different than Belichick. Belichick stood there and looked at them like they were zombies and gave them nothing. This guy gives you nothing and treats you like crap while he's doing it.
Well,
I think he's I think he's a D to you guys, without a doubt.
So I think a lot of people are focusing on the last week of press conferences for sure. And I would agree with you that it's come across that way. It hasn't been like that in general. Like, he has been more open. He has said things. I think absolutely there's people getting to him now saying, hey man, stop saying things at press conferences. Stop giving the media things to write about. I think that message has been delivered loud and clear to Antonio. Because before that, he has been more open. I think he has been willing to say things, probably willing to say a lot more than he should at times. So I think, unfortunately for us in the media, he's kind of learning those lessons of saying nothing. But he absolutely did pull in. We're on to Cincinnati yesterday. There's no question about that. When everybody in the world had their attention focused on what he was going to say about Davante Adams, he said, we're on to Denver. That's what we're focused on. That's what we're doing. And as you said, wasn't overly friendly about it either. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass in this case because he's been good in the past with these things. But I think he's learning the head coach thing a little bit, which is probably bad for us in the media.
How is this thing going to play out with Adams? Do you think he'll be gone by next week? Now he's got this alleged hammy, so no one wants to pay him $1 million to not play. Do you think he'll go next week?
Yeah, I think it'll be soon. Just because for no other reason, like I think they want to wait and find out what they can get. Right. I don't think they want to just immediately react and take the first deal on the table. I think they want to let the bidding process play out a little bit. But at the same time, like you can't have this hanging over your team. You can't, every week say, hey, we're putting the blinders on, we're trying to focus on the next game, we're moving on, and then have this hanging over you. So I don't think it's reparable with the Raiders. Like I don't think he's coming back. I saw that speculated yesterday. Hey, maybe they can figure this out. Like I don't think that's happening. He's gone somewhere. I think you don't want to overreact and just do it and just take the first deal, like I said. But I think as soon as they kind of settle in, find out what the value is going to be, I think they make a move as quickly as possible just to get him out of here. To say, look, we've moved on from that. Stop asking about it. He's gone. He's a former player. Like you don't want him every week. Hey, is Davante in the building today? Is Davante going to be around today? Have you talked to Davante? Like, yeah. I don't think anybody wants those questions.
Adam Hill with the Review Journal. So let's talk about UNLV for a second. They lose the quarterback. He says, I'm not playing here anymore. You didn't give me my money. But then they went out and kicked ass and took names anyway without him and scored 56 points, whatever it was. Now they're on tomorrow night again playing as a ranked team. They're, UNLV ranked in football. Christ, I can't even fathom that I am even seeing this. I have watched them suck since I was in my mother's womb. And now they're actually good, even though the kid left. How are they doing this? And my guess is they'll probably win again tomorrow night, right?
6.5-point favorites at home against Syracuse, as you mentioned. Syracuse is a good offense, but I think UNLV has a very, very good defense to take care of them. You mentioned how bad they've been. This is the first time they've been ranked in the AP poll ever. That's remarkable for a school to have been around this long and never have been ranked, even for a week or two. It just hasn't happened. There hasn't been any kind of success. Barry Odom is that guy. He's an incredible coach. He's obviously held them together. I think an important thing to look at with the quarterback situation, this was not like a starting quarterback with no competition. This competition went all the way into week one. I mean, we expected in week one that both quarterbacks were going to play, Matt Sluka and Hajj Malik Williams. The problem was Matt Sluka got the start. We expected them to go to Hajj Malik at some point, but they dominated Houston on the road in that game, so there was no reason to change. You don't want to mess up the chemistry there. So they just stuck with him. But I think Hajj Malik Williams is equal to what Matt Sluka was. They're very different quarterbacks. Hajj Malik gives them a much more dynamic offense. Matt Sluka, really powerful in the run game, really, really crafty as a runner. There was a situation last week, as well as they did, they scored 59 points. You don't want to nitpick, but there was a 4th and 1 where Hajj Malik Williams got turned away at the goal line. I think Matt Sluka scores on that play. But, that's just really diving into the weeds. Hajj Malik Williams gives them a much more dynamic offense. And I think what you saw was the team rallying. It could have gone either way, right? The team could have took Sluka aside and said, hey, we don't like how you treated him, something like that. It was very clear the team was on the side of the coaching staff, and they played like that. So a great job by Barry Odom, great job by his players, great job by the new quarterback stepping in. Does that emotion continue? Do they ride that wave going forward, or do they start to, feel overwhelmed a little bit by all the attention? I don't know, but I think they're able to keep this going. Couple of tough games here. Syracuse, they're on the road at a tricky Utah State team. Then they've got Boise State on the horizon, and the Boise State game is going to be, if they're both undefeated, man, that's going to be a fun game.
So I got a minute, respectfully. 2 questions. One, did they implode the Trop yet to start building the baseball stadium? I know that's any day now. And then sure. 2, how do you think the Aces will do down 2 to the Liberty? Will they come home and win those 2 games?
So Sports Armageddon coming up Wednesday. They're knocking the Trop down to clear the way for the Ace Stadium. The Golden Knights open their season, and we're just guessing as media people, that's the day they trade Davante Adams, so that it's just total chaos for all of us. So we think Wednesday is going to be that crazy day that's coming up. In terms of the Aces, I think the Aces are incredible. I think Becky Hammon's an incredible coach. New York is just really, really, really good. So I think the Aces are going to show some fight, the fight of a champion. I think they probably win game 3. But to win game 4, win both these games, send it back to New York, I think that'll be pretty tough. So I think they're up against it. But, man, they're if anybody can do it, they can.
And it'll be packed at those games, right?
Sold out. Every game sold out all season long.
That is awesome. Adam, I always enjoy having you on. You're a badass. Let's see how the Raiders do this week. Let's see how Adams plays out. We'll be in touch, my man. Have a good weekend.
Sounds good. Talk to you soon.
right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dog?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Simply put, the only way to bet this is over/under win total. I love Tyronn Lue. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. But my dear friend George Sorless told us to me a long time ago, you can't win if you don't got the talent. Unfortunately, I don't think the Clippers have the talent to match up.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the book.
Would it make you feel better as a bettor or as a sports fan if they said after the game we were trying to cover the spread?
Oh, God. To say it out loud? Oh, my God, no.
So what,
to say it out loud? Oh, my God. You can't say that out loud. No, you can't do that.
Okay, so what is the big deal either way?
Oh, play the game the right way.
The Bostonian versus the book.
Sunday Night Football, not really much of a matchup here. And the Bills looked so good up until this point. And, to me, it's probably like a one-off for them.
The basic thing you have to do against the Ravens, force them to pass and try to use their weapons downfield, get them behind. Because if you can do that, then it takes Derrick Henry a little bit out of the game. But if you get them with momentum coming out of the gate, getting a long touchdown run on the first play.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, that's the first hole. I'm actually seeing him on different holes now on the golf course. It's a miracle. They had it on the 13th hole for 2 hours. Now I'm seeing him on different holes. It really is fascinating stuff. All right, coming off the Adam Hill interview in Vegas. By the way, Carver High, this guy, the stories about this guy are amazing. The bankruptcy story is amazing in itself. That there's rumors of $28 million owed. Car dealerships, all this other stuff with his wife. Then he gets into this Arizona State scandal, which no one cares about. Like that, this guy got an 8-year show cause and he's banned for a year. He'll never coach in the NCAA again, as if it didn't happen. Like this guy commits these crimes in college and the money gains, these bankruptcy. And everyone acts like it doesn't even matter, like it didn't even happen. Like this guy gets away with murder. Like how many crimes can you commit and nothing ever happens to him? Like it really is truly amazing to me. And then you heard this guy talking to me. He goes, "Yeah, it doesn't even matter. None of that matters. It doesn't matter that he committed these crimes." I go, well, "Bullshack, it doesn't matter." I mean, honestly, that is a load of bullshack. It's beyond me. It's like this guy Trump. How many things has he done? And he just gets away with it. It's just amazing to me. Anybody else goes and fries, but this guy gets to do whatever he wants. I mean, he might as well pull his pants down and take a big cable on everybody. Like, it's unbelievable. I can't keep up with this Pierce guy. It's week to week. I mean, what's the next scandal going to be with him? Honestly, I don't care what anyone thinks of my opinion of it either. I'm right. And I'm not changing my opinion of it either. I think he's scum. Go ahead with George Pickens now. Is he imitating Bill Belichick?
Well, I don't know. Maybe imitating Bill Belichick. Maybe just not wanting to answer questions. They asked him about that fumble that he had against the Colts last week, Scotty. Let's just say he didn't want to talk about it.
George, the fumble that happened in the Indy game, just how do you make sure that kind of play doesn't happen again?
Just think about Dallas this week.
George, what happened on that play? What happened? The Cardinals lose the ball there?
Just think about Dallas this week. The team we play Sunday night.
He's doing it, Belichick.
Just think about
Dallas.
Dallas.
Answer any questions. Yeah.
And that went on, by the way. I think he said it like 2 or 3 more times after that. Like, he just kept saying, yeah, I'm just thinking about Dallas this week. I don't know. I'm not answering any of your questions. I'm just thinking about Dallas this week.
I think they need to throw the ball to him more. I mean, honestly, it is beyond me how you have these star players like this guy. Now, do they not throw the ball to Marvin Harrison like 15 times a game? Did they not throw the ball to Neighbors like 15 times a game? If I had Davante Adams and he was healthy, I'd throw it to him 20 times a game. If I had B-Hop, I'd throw it to him 20 times a game. I got Pickens. I would throw this guy the ball 12 to 15 times a game no matter what. How many times do the Steelers throw the ball to him? 3? 3 a game? What does he get, 3 or 4 passes a game? It is so unbelievable to me how they have butchered this offense in Pittsburgh with Canada and this guy Smith. I mean, honestly, I think I could do it better drunk. I really do. Like, here'd be my offense. I'd be like, all right, here's what we're going to do. You're going to throw to Pickens at least 8 times per half. So what we're going to do here is we're going to throw to Pickens, okay? Inside, middle, outside the lines, underneath, slants, screen passes. Give the guy the rock. And instead, they never give him the ball. They throw him the ball once or twice a game. They throw the ball to Freiermuth once or twice a game. Have you ever seen anything more anemic than their offense, that they have these star players and they don't give them the ball? I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like, how do you have great players and you don't give them the ball? It'd be like Chase. How many times should Burrow throw to Chase a game? 15 times at least. I mean, if Pitts is such a badass, why don't they throw him the ball? Because he sucks. Well, then throw it to London. Throw it to Bijan. I mean, honestly, tonight, are they going to throw the ball to Evans? You better effing believe they're going to throw the ball to Evans tonight. That's why Carver High's got him at that 850 clip for the first tutty, because you throw to your stars. The Steelers don't do that. They make me sick to my stomach.
They want to run it. They're going to run it. That's what the Steelers want to do. They want to run that football.
Their running game sucks. It sucks.
They're going to run it. Josh Allen, AFC Player of the Month. Sam Darnold, NFC Player of the Month. Jaden Daniels and Rams rookie Jared Verse, the rookies of the month for the month of September. God bless and good luck. Of course, tomorrow on Coast to Coast, we will do a full preview. We'll get ready for everything for the weekend on tomorrow's show. How about college football now? Not one, but 2 games tonight in college for you, Scotty. That's right. So you've got a big baseball game. You've got the Atlanta-Tampa NFL game. And if you so desire, Texas State visiting Troy. And Sam Houston against UTEP here. Minus 13.5 for the Bobcats of Texas State, who, by the way, nice job last week. I forget who they played. I think they played Sam Houston last week, and they yacked up like a 25-point lead and lost that game. Nice job. They're laying 13.5 on the road at Troy, and Sam Houston's 10.5 in the rolling hills of El Paso.
You want to know why your wife's leaving you? It's because you're betting on these types of high school football games. You know, you don't think you have a gambling problem, and you're betting on these 2 crappy games. I mean, honestly, I won't even turn these games on. These should be canceled immediately. Both of these games are an abortion. That's what they are. I mean, no one is willing to say it. I will. I mean, what is this tonight? What garbage are they feeding us up tonight? Thank God tomorrow night we've got 2 ranked games, one in Outson Stadium in Eugene, the other in Las Vegas at Allegiant in Sin City. This tonight is the lowest rung. I don't even know what is it. It's Pop Warner football. I'm not betting on these crappy teams. Boom. You can quote me. I don't care. They're awful, these games.
I like Troy getting the points at home tonight again.
You couldn't tell me one player's name on either team.
Troy has played some tough competition so far. They did lose to UL Monroe last week, which is not ideal. But I'll take the sticks against Texas State there. I have a couple of racks for you for Saturday. We'll do that when we come back, and maybe a couple of other things before you talk to Adam with the double shot.
Geez, I hope the games are better than the ones you're serving me up tonight. I mean it.
The games are better, yes. Well, we got Saturday's games. So we get.
You know you got a problem when you're betting on Texas State and Troy and Sam Houston and UTEP. You got a real issue, man. You think your drinking's a problem.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. Ready? I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Simply put, the only way to bet this is over under win total. I love Tyronn Lue. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. But my dear friend George Sorless told us to me a long time ago, you can't win if you don't got the talent. Unfortunately, I don't think the Clippers have the talent to match up.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
Would it make you feel better as a bettor or as a sports fan if they said after the game we were trying to cover the spread?
Oh, God. To say it out loud? Oh, my God, no.
So what,
to say it out loud? Oh, my God. You can't say that out loud. No, you can't even. You can't do that.
Okay, so what is the big deal either way?
Oh, play the game the right way.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Sunday Night Football, not really much of a matchup here. And the Bills looked so good up until this point. And, to me, it's probably like a one-off for them.
The basic thing you have to do against the Ravens, force them to pass and try to use their weapons downfield, get them behind. Because if you can do that, then it takes Derrick Henry a little bit out of the game. But if you get them with momentum coming out of the gate, getting a long touchdown run to the first play.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver High, give me some racks of ribs of games that matter here instead of, and listen, I'm not trying to be mean. It is what it is. Those are just, there is no way I'm watching that over the Brewers and Mets or the Buccaneers and Falcons tonight, the Texas State and Sam Houston games. I mean, honestly.
No, I wouldn't say it's at the top of the ladder for viewing appointment tonight, but it is there for some. Some are very involved.
I think there's better value betting big games like the baseball game and the NFL game than 4 teams you've never heard of one player, you couldn't name the coach. You don't even know what the weather is. You don't even know where it is. I mean, honestly, I try to avoid getting embroiled in betting on things I have no clue about. Korean baseball here on SportsGrid. Remember that? Jesus, honestly.
So here's the last set I got for you this week. And then, of course, on Friday, we put them all back together and we do them all one more time. Some of these games, Purdue and Wisconsin coming up. Man, it'd be nice for Fickle to actually get a job done at home this year. BC visits Virginia. BC and Virginia actually both have played pretty well so far this year. Navy and Air Force getting together this weekend. West Virginia and Oklahoma State. Gundy looking to rebound. A couple of gutless performances by him. And UCF and Florida, big game there after UCF got smashed by Colorado last week.
Yeah, you would think, and I was on Colorado in that game, and that was really easy money when you think about it. I think Florida's awful, though. They really are awful.
Yeah.
And you would think Central Florida could win this game. They're favored by 2.5. The game's at the Swamp, though. I can see them losing that game. I can see the Gators actually winning that game at home, to be honest with you. I like the Pokes at home in Stillwater. They've had a couple of bad weeks. And I think, because, they've had 2 losses in a row, I believe. I think they get it straight against the Mountaineers. Navy's better than Air Force. I like BC's chances against Virginia, to be honest with you. I guess they got some kind of edge because they're in Charlottesville. I don't buy it. I think Wisconsin is literally money. That's money. That's automatic money right there. Purdue is absolutely horrible. I mean,
they're bad.
Honestly, Wisconsin's going to beat them by 30. I mean, Wisconsin looked pretty good against USC until they melted down. I think they're going to torch Purdue in Madtown, Camp Randall. That's automatic. 13.5. They'll beat that by at least 30. 26 to 30 points. Easy.
Va Tech makes the long trip to the West Coast. They'll go to Palo Alto, of course. Big ACC game against Stanford. Road favorite, too. That could be a little tricky for the Hokies. Colorado State visits Oregon State. Undefeated Duke into Georgia Tech on Saturday night. Kansas and Arizona State. Hawaii and San Diego State as well.
All right. Well, first of all, I think Duke can cover the number against Georgia Tech in Atlanta, right? Kansas sucks. I don't know what happened to them. They left their stadium in Lawrence, and they've never been the same. They're naked, and they've got a bottle in their mouth. Arizona State, I like. Kansas is awful. San Diego State finally wins a game at Snapdragon. They're terrible, too, by the way. Oregon State at home in Corvallis gets it done. I like Va Tech at Palo Alto. I thought Va Tech played great against Miami. They deserved a better fate. They won the game. They got screwed. I think they'll take it out on Stanford in California.
There you go. We'll do all the racks again tomorrow. We put all the racks together on Friday. Heading in, and like you said, we got good games tomorrow night with Michigan State, Oregon, UNLV, Syracuse. I believe we have another Big 12 game, too, on Friday night as well, Scotty. Yes, Houston and TCU. So you have a few games. Good games on Friday night. So we'll do the rest of them tomorrow. Heisman for you. I never got you any of the college futures this week. Let me at least give you the updated Heisman as we go into this weekend. And that is Milroe now the favorite after last week, with Travis Hunter now flying up the board past Cam Ward as well.
Yeah, I don't buy that. I think, Cam Ward still had a good game against Virginia Tech. He threw 3 touchdown passes, and he threw for 300-some yards. He didn't go over 400 for the first time this season, so he now doesn't matter in college football. Please. I'll take Milroe and Ward over Hunter, and really no one else matters. Jackson Dart lost all of his juice when he lost to Kentucky, and that was the end of him.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Simply put, the only way to bet this is over-under win total. I love Tyronn Lue. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. But my dear friend George Sorless told us to me a long time ago, you can't win if you don't got the talent. Unfortunately, I don't think the Clippers have the talent to match up.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the book.
Would it make you feel better as a bettor or as a sports fan if they said after the game we were trying to cover the spread?
Oh, God. To say it out loud? Oh, my God, no.
So what,
to say it out loud? Oh, my God. You can't say that out loud. No, you can't do that.
Okay, so what is the big deal either way?
Oh, play the game the right way.
The Bostonian versus the book.
Sunday Night Football, not really much of a matchup here. And the Bills looked so good up until this point. And, to me, it's probably like a one-off for them.
The basic thing you have to do against the Ravens, force them to pass and try to use their weapons downfield, get them behind. Because if you can do that, then it takes Derrick Henry a little bit out of the game. But if you get them with momentum coming out of the gate, getting a long touchdown run on the first play.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Adam is our NFL insider, and we get a double shot with him on Thursdays. Thank God for that. You can follow him on X at Kaplan NFL, almost 30 years covering the National Football League, and we're blessed to have him on C2C every week. So, Adam, let's start with Week 5 key game injury updates as we start with the game in the jungle between the Ravens and Bengals.
This is one of the best games of the season. Now, the Bengals did lose 2 against the Ravens last year. This one is going to be in Cincinnati. And the one good thing about the Ravens is, other than they played great the last 2 games, is they're healthy. They're one of the top 3 healthiest teams by my chart in the National Football League. But the Bengals are super banged up on defense, Scott. So let's start in the back. Mike Hilton, their outstanding nickel corner. All right, he's got a knee injury. He didn't work again for the second straight day. Tomorrow's a big day for them. They're not deep at corner. They need him back tomorrow. If he doesn't work tomorrow, chances are he won't play. And up front, like, they've been lucky. They haven't faced a lot of teams that could run the football well, but guess what? They're facing the Ravens. No one running better than the Ravens the last 2 weeks. Sheldon Rankins, one of their starters with a hamstring injury, as I understand, unlikely to play. He's not practiced in over 2 weeks. This will be his 3rd straight game that'll miss. BJ Hill, the other starting defensive tackle, he missed the past 2 games. Now, he was limited today again. If he doesn't work tomorrow, he's not going to play. Listen, when you're going against this Ravens team, we'll talk more about them again in the second segment. This is a great game. This is a game the Bengals have to win. They got to find some way to get it done. It's going to be hard. The way the Ravens are running the football, I know it was slow for them the first 2 weeks, but they got it done. Henry, it looks phenomenal at running back. And the meshing of Henry and Jackson, that run game is working out. You got to have B.J. Hill and Sheldon Rankins if you want to have a chance to win the game. It doesn't look good to have both of them this week.
They are not going to be able to stop Henry from running wild on them the entire day.
I agree. I mean, he is on. Look, the first 2 weeks are a little slow. The last 2 weeks, incredible. No running back looks better. I like that he was talking about his strict diet. It looks like it because he looks phenomenal. He certainly didn't look like this last year with Tennessee, not even close to it. Ravens don't have a great offensive line, but that has not been a problem. And the Bengals, their offense took off last week, but their defense is not playing anywhere near as well as it has in years past.
Let's go to the Bills and their game in Houston, the Diggs game. Obviously, everybody's talking about Diggs, but I want to ask you first about the Bills' problems at receiver.
Yeah, and this has been a problem. They've gotten away with it last week, of course, when they got blown out against the Ravens. But when you look at their situation, they did very little in free agency. They brought in Matt Collins, MVS. It's not a great group. Keon Coleman, their second rounder, who's really not starting yet. He's more or less their 4th receiver. But here's the problem. Khalil Shakir, I told you, was going to be a breakout candidate. He's been great so far. Shakir, unfortunately, he's got an injury. He didn't practice for the 2nd straight day. Keon Coleman, as I understand it, they like to play some 11 personnel, some 12. Coleman would be a starter when they go 3 receivers. Tomorrow's a big day for Shakir with his first real injury this season. And the thing about Shakir that's very important, Scott, is they don't just line him up inside. They'll move him around for matchup purposes. Out of Boise State, Khalil Shakir's in his 3rd year. Really good football player. Now, for the Texans, this is big. Joe Mixon, he started working last week. He's got an ankle sprain. Some people around the league think it's a high ankle. He has not worked yet this week. If he doesn't work tomorrow, 0 chance he plays. Cam Akers, a former first-round pick, you might remember him with the Rams. He fills in. He started last week. Actually looked pretty good. But that is big because pass protection, Mixon's great. He's also really good catching the football. It's not the same without him. This game, and by the way, which is one, I see why it is. I see why the depending which book you look at, the Texans or the Bills are a point favorite. It is very, very even. This is a tough game. But typically when good teams, Scott, get blown out the week before, they get themselves together, they come out upset, and they play well on the road. And the Bills have shown they can win on the road, by the way. They didn't play well last week. But this to me, is a very even game.
Do you think there'll be any Diggs drama in this game? Oh, yeah. Any shoving, arguing, trash talking, something? There's got to be something, right?
Yeah, and they're not super deep at corner, and he'll have something for them. There's no question about it. He'll want to get the Bills back. I know the way veterans are. Let's face it, some of the Bills kind of badmouthed him quietly, didn't say all the right things. He's aware of what's going on. This is going to be a fun matchup because you got the juice of Diggs going against his former team. The Bills have kind of changed up a little bit the way that their offense is comprised. They're they're not as pass happy as they were before. Things have changed for them. And James Cook, by the way, phenomenal at running back. This is yet another great game this week. I cannot wait for this game on Sunday.
So what is the status? So Parsons, Lawrence, they're not going to be in this game Sunday night in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, we should mention this. I'm glad you mentioned that. So, okay, Parsons has got a high ankle sprain. It's highly unlikely he'll play. He's not been ruled out, Scott. I can't see a scenario this early in the season you're going to put a guy out there with a high ankle sprain. Tank Lawrence is on IR. He's got a severe midfoot sprain. Now, it should be more than 4 games, by the way. This crushes them going into Pittsburgh. And your guy, Justin Fields, I got to admit it. He's played really well lately. Because remember last year, he had that 2-game streak, including that one crazy game at Washington, where they blew out Washington.
Right.
But he's playing really good football. Isaac Seumalo, as I understand it, really good chance to come back from his pectoral injury. By the way, he was their best graded lineman last season. Now, the one issue I have with the Steelers, this does concern me. They're down now 3 linemen. That is a concern going forward. I know the Cowboys defense has not been very good lately, but that does worry me. I know it's in Pittsburgh. I still like your Steelers to win that game, but that does worry me. We may talk about that in the second segment. But Dallas has got all sorts of issues stopping the run. We know that right now your Steelers are running the ball pretty well. I like the run scheme by Arthur Smith, much maligned Arthur Smith for the first 2 weeks. Steeler fans now see they got it going on. And by the way, give them credit for fighting back. They almost pulled that crazy comeback last week.
How do you think this game in London is going to shape up with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets taking on the undefeated? And everybody's talking about the Vikings, the way their offense looks, and Darnold and Jefferson, and he's not the only one making big catches.
I know. And look, Adkins comes back from his injury, his ankle injury, looking great. I got to tell you, this is by far the big surprise in the National Football League. No one saw this coming, okay? First, their first-round rookie quarterback gets hurt, has a significant knee injury. He's out for the season, right? And then Darnold, who nobody really wanted, he's got a very modest 1-year deal. It's got some upside to it. He's never played this well. I know it's only 4 games, but with McCarthy getting hurt, Darnold got 1 shot, and he's making the most of it. And Kevin O'Connell, the quarterback whisperer, is doing a great job with him. Darnold's playing under control. He's not making a lot of bonehead mistakes. Now, the Jets have a very good defense. This is technically, a home game for the Vikings. This is another even game to me. I do like the Vikings to win this game. I got to be honest with you, because Darnold is not screwing up. He's not making bad mistakes. I know that the Jets looked terrible at home last week with the rain. Rodgers, this is a knee injury. We got to watch this thing with that knee. That's a concern going forward. Their offense, which looked great 2 weeks ago, awful last week at home in the rain against a Denver defense that brought it, that got after him. But the story of the season is those Minnesota Vikings. Brian Flores, unreal, the best defensive coordinator in the National Football League. They're running the ball efficiently. How about Aaron Jones at running back? But the story, comeback player of the year, a guy who never was there, is Sam Darnold. What an unbelievable story, and it will continue this week in London.
We think Jacksonville gets straight this week finally against the Colts. Taylor's banged up. Richardson's banged up. Do you think Peterson's in trouble?
He is absolutely in the hot seat. The strangeness, let's call it like it is here. I know Press Taylor's this guy, brought him over from Philly with him. Their offense has been pitiful this season, okay? A little bit better last year, good overall, pitiful. Peterson does not want to call the plays, okay? He's given it to Press Taylor. It's just not looking good. They don't run the ball well. They don't protect him. Trevor Lawrence very well. Their defense has struggled. They're not good in the secondary. Eventually, they're going to win, and I agree with you. This is the week to do it. Why? Because the Colts are severely banged up at center, at quarterback, a little bit on defense.
When we come back, Adam will break down the Thursday night game at the Benz in Atlanta and give his favorite plays of the week, plus the tackle.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long. What in the world is going on in in Miami, dog.
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Simply put, the only way to bet this is over under win total. I love Tyronn Lue. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. But my dear friend George Sorless told us to me a long time ago, you can't win if you don't got the talent. Unfortunately, I don't think the Clippers have the talent to match up.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
Would it make you feel better as a bettor or as a sports fan if they said after the game we were trying to cover the spread?
Oh, God. To say it out loud? Oh, my God, no.
So what,
no. To say it out loud? Oh, my God. You can't say that out loud. No, you can't even. You can't do that.
Okay, so what is the big deal either way?
Oh, play the game the right way.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Sunday Night Football, not really much of a matchup here. And the Bills looked so good up until this point. And, to me, it's probably like a one-off for them.
The basic thing you have to do against the Ravens, force them to pass and try to use their weapons downfield, get them behind. Because if you can do that, then it takes Derrick Henry a little bit out of the game. But if you get them with momentum coming out of the gate, getting a long touchdown run on the first play.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're talking to Adam Kaplan, our NFL insider, and we look at Thursday night tonight in Atlanta at the Benz. It's the Falcons and Buccaneers. Break it down.
NFC South tilt. So the Bucs, I'll say this about them. When we started the season, I said, hey, Falcons are overrated. Bucs are my team. I'm going to pick them to win the NFC South. Now, the 3-1, they've looked pretty good. They blew out the Eagles last week at home. The game was not competitive. Baker Mayfield was never really rushed. But when you really look at it, Scott, yes, they beat a beat-up Eagles team, but they got to go on the road on a short week. They're down they're down 2 of their top 4 receivers. That does worry me. Antoine Winfield, one of the top probably 3 safeties of the National Football League. He's out again with his sprained foot. Kalijah Kancey, the first-round pick at D tackle, is out again with yet another calf injury. So on a short week, being beat up, I know they've been good on the road dating back to last season. They won 4 in a row on the road again, going back to 2023 season. So that does worry me. But Atlanta and Raheem Morris, I expect them to bring the heat a little bit, make him hold on to the ball. That's when Baker Mayfield gets confused. If you make him hold on to the football, he breaks down a little bit. The Falcons, by the way, really, really healthy. To me, the Falcons are going to win this game. I know they have not played great. I know their offense has got to take a next step. Their offense has been a little bit inconsistent. They're going to win here on a short week.
My thing is like, for me, it's just Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans. Like, if they're clicking, they can beat anybody.
I know. They can. And by the way, the move of Chris Godwin to the slot has meant everything to their passing game. That's by Liam Cohen, their offense coordinator, who's a Sean McVay guy. Give him credit. Godwin's the best slot receiver right now in the National Football League.
All right. Kaplan's picks of the week is 3 favorite plays before we do all of the spreads.
Yeah, so as I said earlier in the first segment, the Ravens, to me, look like the team here. Bengals offense got on track, but their defense has got all sorts of injuries. Not playing well. They haven't played like they did last year. No one's stopping Derrick Henry. I like the Ravens minus 2.5. Your Steelers now, with all the Cowboys injuries, I know the Steelers are at home in this game. They're not always a great home team, but Dallas now down likely their best 2 pass rushers. They don't stop the run real well. I like the Steelers minus 2.5. And the Packers against a beat-up Rams team. The Packers, I give them credit. They fought like crazy to make the game close. They got off to a terrible start against Brian Flores, but they fought back. Jordan Love looked great to close the game. I like the minus 3 at the Rams.
Okay, so let's do the rest of them. Let's start with the game in London. Jets and Vikings. Vikings laying 3 with bust a cap in your ass.
No one's been able to figure out Brian Flores. Aaron Rodgers did not look good in that rain. I like the Vikings in this game.
Carolina's at Soldier Field against Caleb Williams and the Bears. The Bears are laying 4.
Good win by the Bears last week. It's the Andy Dalton revenge ball of the many teams he's been on before. But no, I like the Bears to win that. Caleb Williams is not playing great, but their defense is playing well. I liked them last week. I expect them to get it done again against the Panthers.
The Bills and Texans at NRG in Houston. Houston's getting 1.
I've been going back and forth in this game all week. I like the Bills to bounce back after a terrible game last week, an absolutely horrific performance. I like them to bounce back against those said Texans.
The 2-2 Colts are at the 0-4 Jags in Jacksonville. Jags laying 3.
Yeah, I like the Jaguars to take care of business. The Colts are really banged up. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor. That does worry me. Trey Sermon's his backup, by the way. And then defensively, they've got some injuries on the interior, their defensive line. That does concern me. I do like the Jaguars to take care of business.
Miami and New England in Foxborough. The Pats are laying 1. How about the low total? 36.5.
I would make it 30. You got to be kidding me. A quarterback with Miami looked atrocious in this past game against the Titans. Patriots can't do anything right. They got to go to Drake May very, very soon, and maybe even Sunday at some point. But the bottom line is a low-scoring game. I like somehow the Patriots to win this game. This is an awful game, by the way. Awful.
The Browns are 1-3. They're at the surprising 3-1 Commanders with Jaden Daniels. He's been unbelievable. Commanders laying 3.
Like Washington to take care of business. Cleveland awful on offense. Nice story. Nick Chubb starting to practice this week, coming back from that horrific knee injury. But bottom line is, Cleveland cannot get it done on offense. Watson looks bad. Their offensive tackle situation is bad. Both are hurt. By the way, Cleveland has not 20, 21 players on their injury report this week.
Oof. Wow. Vegas is in the Mile High City to take on the Broncos. They're both 2-2. Denver's laying 3.
Denver, their defense was phenomenal last week. This is a tight ball game. I like Denver to win a close one. And a low-scoring game, by the way.
Arizona's at Levi's at Stonewash Denim Jeans in Santa Clara. The Niners are 2-2. They're laying 7.5 to Kyler Murray and the Cards.
Teams that are laying more than 7 are not doing well. They're below 500 in terms of covering the spread. By that number, I like the Cardinals. I know they've not looked great. Niners have been very up and down. We'll look at the number here. I like the Cardinals to cover that.
The Giants are at Lumen Field in Seattle. The Seahawks are laying 7.
Give Seattle very banged up on defense. Give them a ton of credit for making that game against Detroit competitive. Giants are a little bit better than everyone thought, but they're not going to win this game, and Seattle will be able to cover that number.
So Monday night, the game's at Arrowhead. It's the Saints and Chiefs in Kansas City. Mahomes and company laying 5.5.
It's a big number. Derek Carr, you never know what you're going to get from him. New Orleans, they have a couple injuries on defense that are concerning. Kansas City, obviously, with Rashee Rice out for a while, if not the entire season, with that bad knee injury. We got to see what this looks like. We know it's going to go to Kelsey. I'd have a slight lean towards the Saints to cover that 5.5.
Wow. And then what are your thoughts on Adams? Where does he end up and when? Next week? We had Adam Hill on from Vegas today from the Review Journal. He thinks by Wednesday.
Yeah, and there are at least 6, as I understand, there are at least 6 teams that have interest. There may be more depending on what happens this weekend. The bottom line is this is one of the strangest things I've seen in my career. You got a head coach who favorites a tweet about potentially Adams moving on. Strange. Adams has always wanted to be on the West Coast. That's been his thing, but the Jets expect them to be heavy into this thing. The Jets know that they got to be better at wide receiver. Garrett Wilson's got to get the ball more. Remember, they tried to get Adams last year.
All right, thank you.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all people. What in in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Simply put, the only way to bet this is over/under win total. I love Tyronn Lue. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in the league. But my dear friend George Sorless told us to me a long time ago, you can't win if you don't got the talent. Unfortunately, I don't think the Clippers have the talent to match up.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
Would it make you feel better as a bettor or as a sports fan if they said after the game we were trying to cover the spread?
Oh God, to say it out loud? Oh my God, no.
So what,
no. To say it out loud? Oh my God, you can't say that out loud. No, you can't even. You can't do that.
Okay, so what is the big deal? Either way.
Oh, play the game the right way.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Sunday Night Football, not really much of a matchup here. And the Bills looked so good up until this point. And, to me, it's probably like a one-off for them.
The basic thing you have to do against the Ravens, force them to pass and try to use their weapons downfield, get them behind. Because if you can do that, then it takes Derrick Henry a little bit out of the game. But if you get them with momentum coming out of the gate, getting a long touchdown run on the first play.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Time for leftovers with Carver High.
It certainly is. Why don't we start here? One other thing in college football, 4-star quarterback recruit Deuce Knight leaves Notre Dame to go to Auburn.
What?
Wow. How about
Who
that?
does that?
Who leaves South Bend to go to Auburn? Unbelievable that your boy Deuce is doing that. I couldn't believe it. NBA now, of course, training camp has started. That trade was official yesterday. Well, today, Julius Randle arrives in Minneapolis to play for the Timberwolves. And let's just say, Scotty, he seems very emotional, and he is going to miss being in New York and playing for the Knicks. Julius Randle for you here.
Yeah, it was a lot of emotion. You spend a certain amount of time in a place, New York, going there 5 years ago and, having a goal in mind, to accomplish a lot of great things and, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears put into, that organization uniform. Initially, it's always going to be a shock. But for me, afterwards, I woke up the next morning and I was just really, really excited. It was a breath of fresh air. I'm excited to bring everything that I learned here over the past 5 years and, help these guys out. My only thing here is I just want to help. I want to help Ant. I want to help Rudy, Nas, all those guys. I want to help win a championship. So that's the only thing that matters.
I mean, they're a good team. So I don't think it's like he's suffering going to Minnesota other than going to Minnesota. Leaving New York for Minnesota is like going to prison. But the fact is he's going to a good team. So I think he's still going to win.
I think they're still going to be very good, too. Luka Doncic is going to miss the first week of camp. What a surprise. The first preseason game as well. Calf contusion.
Who cares?
For Luka. He always hurt. Always has something. Frank Vogel is joining Jason Kidd's staff in Dallas. He'll be a coaching consultant.
What is that?
Boy, Frank getting involved. Caitlin Clark is the winner of the WNBA Rookie of the Year, although she was not the 5th unanimous winner of the award, Scotty. That's because somebody decided that she was not worthy of being that. 66 of the 67 voters voted her first. Only one voter.
God. There had to be one that voted for Angel Reese for her broken-ass game.
So, really nice job. Even the voters continuing it on after the season ends. T-Bud rejects a 2-fight matchup with Conor McGregor.
What?
You can't find anyone else to fight T-Bud? What are we doing here? What is happening?
You know, I'm so fucking tired of hearing about fights that Conor McGregor is never going to have. He never fights anyone ever. So, but he's in every single week. We hear he's fighting someone and then it falls apart. The guy never fights ever. The only thing he fights is that needle.
Now, look, Conor McGregor's made a hell of a lot more money than me or I ever will in my life, Scotty. But if he wants a piece of advice from me, the only person he should be fighting anymore is what he did in that movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. He should just go fight it. That's where he should be fighting now because that's where he can make a lot more money and not embarrass himself in the ring. So that's what he should do. The Sanderson Farms we already talked about. David Skins is going to be in the clubhouse at 12 under, and he will have the lead. Augusta National, of course, was right in the mix where Hurricane Helene went through last week, Scotty. There was a lot of damage, Fred Ridley said today. But they believe that they will have the grounds well and suited for the Masters in April. They're not concerned at all about the course not being in good shape.
Yeah, God damn it. No one cares about Augusta National until April. No one cares about their damage cleanup or anything else. I know they're giving $5 million to the relief of the hurricane, which ravaged all over the eastern part in North Carolina and Nashville. It's just horrible what happened. The Varela finished 26-year-old Florida cop accused of fooling around with an intoxicated underage girl found drunk in his home. My man is just not making good decisions. Hungry prowler arrested after breaking into a Wisconsin home, hopefully in Milwaukee, to cook shrimp and pasta. This chick broke into the house, started busting off shrimp and pasta on the stove. She had it all going. Longtime New York City fruit vendor, fatally beaten with a baseball bat in a cold-hearted attack. You got to kill the street vendor with a baseball bat in New York City? It's gotten that bad, huh? Half-naked perp arrested more than 50 times, now busted for attempted rape in the New York City subway station. When are they finally going to put this dude away forever? GTD is next. Go to FerrallOnTheBench.com. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on Coast to Coast.
To game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.